Hi, I'm Carcino.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Yo, what's up? It's your boy Carcino in the house. Like right now, I didn't even have to make another video. I got a video going pretty viral. The one I dropped this morning, which was a Patreon video that I decided to let y'all have as a Christmas present. The Demon of Hollywood. And that video is going viral. I'm getting emails. I'm getting people saying, Cino, you don't know how right you are. People on Patreon has already seen it. So this is why I ask you guys to make sure you sign up for the Patreon. Okay? This is why the Carcino for Life Patreon is very important. So you don't miss out on videos like that. Now, Sean Green, you done bumped your head. Just say you want to talk. But saying the Superman trailer was trash, that is just nonsense. Now, that was the best Superman trailer ever made, period. Ever made. That's the most comic book accurate Superman ever made. Already, just looking at it, yes, that is about as comic book accurate as you're going to get. But let's get to this. Jigga Jay-Z. Jay-Z ain't playing no games with Tony Buzbee. And I will be talking about Sonic 3. I saw Sonic 3 with my cousin. I was finna say my nephew, but he's my cousin. My little cousin, man. I promised him when Sonic 2 was out, and I missed seeing it with him, that I would watch Sonic 3 with him. So. So yeah, we were always into the notion about what was going on. And Jay-Z has been not playing any games when it's coming to Tony Buzbee. Now, Jay-Z filed an emergency motion today. And he's not playing around. He's finna make an example of this dude, man. Another person came out, a female, suing Tony Buzbee today, saying that she got a venereal disease from Tony Buzbee. It is gone crazy. You don't mess with Jay, man, in this game. You finna find out, like, what this is. Tony Buzbee finna be the person. He's like, I'm the lawyer. Why are they coming after me? I'm just filing a lawsuit. I'm just doing this for my client. Oh, no. You're the target for Jay. You know it. So Jay has filed an emergency motion today. It's a preservation order. That's going to stop Tony Buzbee from destroying any key evidence in their ongoing litigation. So this means no, don't try to get rid of nothing. Jay want all of this information there. So he wants the preservation order there, and that's going to stop Tony Buzbee from destroying key evidence in this ongoing case, right? So Jay want all of this present because you're not going to be able to you're not going to wiggle your way out. See, what lawyers would do is anything that they feel is not needed no more, could hurt them, they want to destroy it as much as possible. Get rid of it. We got to take this out. And if you ain't filed a motion to destroy it, it could be gone. And you can't use it no more because it's already destroyed. Oh, lawyers do that now. Alex Spiro requested the judge dismiss the anonymous lawsuit altogether based on the plaintiff's wide array of inconsistent and unsubstantiated statements. And Buzbee admitted to NBC News that he and his firm failed to investigate the plaintiff's claims prior to the lawsuit to Jay-Z. Now, right then and there, you've already created a problem. And you're going to have to drop Jay-Z from this lawsuit, period. And then you're going to have to amend it, and you're going to have to just leave it with Diddy, which still don't have any legs. This man said in 2 days he had 120 people. And I told you that number right there is suspect because you landed, how convenient, you landed at 120. If you said we got 113 people or something like that, I could believe that. But to land out on a number at 120, like, okay, we're going to stop right here. We got 120. That's good. 120. That's good right there. Good number, 120. Now we have enough time to investigate all this. It's going to be great. And in 2 days, they said they had over 3,000 calls, right? 3,000 calls in 2 days, and you nailed down 120 people in 2 days. When it takes weeks to vet one story, you and your team was able to vet 120 people in 2 days and say, oh, your story's good. Oh, did you take a picture with Diddy somewhere? Oh, yeah, okay, good. They got a picture with Diddy. All right, that's you. All right, great. Okay, you got a case. We're taking yours. All right, she's vetted. What kind of vetting process are you doing? Or you just running a miscarriage of justice? Which is exactly what he's doing. It's a terrible miscarriage of justice because in this emergency notion that they filed with all these unsubstantiated claims, right? In the emergency motion, Spiro even said that after like inaccuracies that was in the story about when it took place, what he said, her claim that she watched the 2000 MTV Music Video Awards show on a Jumbotron outside of Radio Music City Hall and knocked on the limousine door window. However, there was no Jumbotron outside of the venue in 2000, and the limousine area was blocked off from the public. So how would she be able to walk up to a limousine and knock on the window? There's so much inconsistencies to her story that it doesn't even make sense. She said she ran into Benji Madden at the after party, but Benji's representative and his brother Joel confirmed to the publication that the brothers never even attended. They were on tour in the Midwest. So as part of today's motion, they wrote that there's a significant risk that Buzbee will seek to destroy documents and other evidence that would demonstrate that he knew or shouldn't have known that these allegations in the complaint were false. So Buzbee they putting this motion in because, homeboy, you are going up in smoke. Because Jay is going to come for you next. And he wants to eliminate you with prejudice. With prejudice means that he cannot be charged again by you and your firm. Oh, no. You cannot touch Jay-Z's name again. And with eliminate by prejudice means that you cannot come after him. I don't care what the client says. You can't go after him. And a matter of fact, your license is going to be extinct in this situation. Based on the seriousness of this accusation, you could be found liable because of the emotional stress you put on Jay-Z and his family, and for defaming him, you have caused emotional strain and stress. So the financial payments to that is going to bankrupt you. because they're going to come after you monetarily because their children was hurt by these accusations. So now his wife, his family, the humiliation, you, Tony Buzbee, is going to be up against it. So Tony Buzbee is fighting back with coming out with a video footage of saying that accusing Rock Nation of trying to pay off people, as they've got some guy who said they tried to pay him off. He's filing a lawsuit against Rock Nation. So they're highlighting this, and this is turning into an all-out war. And I don't think Tony Buzbee's ready for it. He's a Marine, so he's ready to fight. And he's like, hey, y'all ain't going to beat me at my game. I'm the only crook in town. So that's how he's looking at it. Look, I'm the crook around here. Ain't nobody more crooked than me. And I'm going to show you who's the crookest crook of the crooks. So he knows all the dirty stuff he did. But that dirty stuff will turn on you because you're dealing with high-priced lawyers. You're dealing with high-power lawyers. And they're going to make you fold and bend and apologize and do all that other that you don't want. See, Jay is playing the long game. He's doing everything right. Alex Spiro is telling Jay what to do. I know the end game. So I'm already speeding up to the finish line. I already know how this is going to play out. Tony's going to pull out of this lawsuit. The judge is going to throw this lawsuit out. And it's going to, once Jay's name is taken off the lawsuit, Tony Buzbee's going to have to remove it. He thinks that's going to be the end of it. He knows this is not going to be the end of it. He has to go after Rock Nation to make it look like, hey, they're coming after me with all of these lawsuits. Now, everybody's going to be looking at that. Yeah. Well, the thing is, Rock Nation's media personnel, who I've been in contact with, Jana. So Jana put out a statement that went out to all of us in the media. And that means to everybody's media, the whole nine. So I knew how to contact Jana and put out the following statements that she was talking about, because there's a significant risk that Buzbee will seek to destroy the documents and other evidence that would demonstrate that he knew or should have known about these allegations and that they were completely false. And Tony Buzbee baloney lawsuit against Rock Nation is nothing but another sham. It's a pathetic attempt to distract and deflect attention. This sideshow won't change. The ultimate outcome and true justice will be served. Well, Tony Buzbee and what he's doing, because of the people he was doing it to, they didn't care. Like, they did not care. Jay-Z never made a statement that him and Puffy wasn't friends. His lawyer did. That's lawyer talk. I mean, a lawyer spoke for me and told the judge that the car wasn't mine. Because legally, the car wasn't mine, but it was mine. My parents left me the car, so the car was mine, but it wasn't in my name. It was still in their name. So my lawyer was correct, but it was my car. I'm like, it's my car. What are you talking about? But I didn't ask him to do that. He was speaking to the judge like, Your Honor, the car's not in its name. It's, and it went our way. I got to let the lawyer cook. So, but now Jay has complete deniability. He's like, well, my lawyer said that. I didn't say a thing. Yeah, of course it looks bad on Jay, but Jay never said it. See, you got to understand how this game is. Oh, no problem. Shouts out to Suzanne, too. Suzanne, who I saw at the DMV, she shouted my name out. Like, Carcino! So shouts out to Suzanne. She was like, you're not as big as I thought. No, I'm not some fat guy. I don't know. Got to stop listening to the internet. No, I'm not some fat guy. No, sorry. But yeah, she was very nice. And she said, oh my God, but if I meet Kwame Brown next, woo! So she's a fan of me and Kwame Brown. I appreciated it running into you today at the DMV. It was awesome. I had a great time. Yeah, she recognized me right away. She was, Carcino! I'm like, wait a minute, who just called me? I had to make sure they wasn't all trying to jump me. Mm-hmm. Well, my thing is this, man. What Jay is able to do to this lawyer is what many people need to understand that they have the right to do, is that you have a right to challenge. And most people in this position, celebrities, they go for the extortion play. What this guy would do, and the play he's been running, Buzbee, is he would get somebody to say, hey, get this on tape. I got this on tape. Here we go. They pay the money and he shakes them down. This has been his play for the longest. Crooked racist lawyers in the system. Still feel bad for Jonathan Majors. Exactly. Jonathan Majors got put in a situation where he was dealt with racism at its finest. In its fullest glory, racism was on display from a racist, over-anxious police department. Why would a black man would not call the police on himself in no domestic situation? That's not going to happen in the history of black mendom. Okay, that's not going to happen. Once I heard he called the police on himself, it's like, why did you call the cops? And y'all was having a fight. No, you don't want the cops there at all. So I already knew he wasn't in a fight with that woman. They didn't have one fight in that house. No way, shape, or form. Because ain't no black man finna call the police on himself in that situation. She could have been beating him until the police came. He ain't calling the cops. So I knew it didn't make sense. I was like, boy, he must have been in the burbs in Hollywood too long. You don't call the cops on yourself, because we didn't even know about the car incident. We thought this all went down in the crib when it first came out. So we all telling ourselves, what the hell he calling the cops for? So we were all messed up when it came out. Then when the whole thing went down, we learned the whole story. Like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. See, he was trying to save her life because she thought she was dying. She had vomit in there. He came home and see her with vomit in the bed. She's in the closet, laid out. He called 911 to try to save her because he thought maybe she had took something and was sick. So that's why he called 911, and then she turned that into he's been beating on me, and it's like, what? Huh? And the police come up there asking all kind of questions, leading her. So this man's been beating you. How can he afford this place? What does he do? How can he afford this place? It's not your concern. You mad a black man's able to live in a luxury apartment building? Damn. Y'all made sure y'all was gonna screw his career up. He thought he could get Jay-Z to what they would say settle, because public celebrities don't like their attention or name in there. Anybody close to Diddy, he can get them. And social media has been pushing a lot of Jay-Z propaganda, so he could ride that wave. Okay, if we just add Jay-Z's name to the lawsuit, oh, we got a girl saying now she remembers now Jay-Z was there too. Diddy passed her off to Jay-Z. Now we got a lawsuit for you, Jay. But hey, if you want to sit down, we can mediate this thing. We can get to the bottom of it. You see how that works? You see how the brainwash goes? You see how the BS machine still keeps moving forward, right? That's how it works. Manipulation. Well, he looks favorable because of the case. If you heard the person speak, you already know that she's lying. Everything that she says is inaccurate. Everything she said. So if that's wrong, then she damn well wrong about Diddy. She wrong about all of it. She can't get nothing right. So if Jay is innocent, then shit, so is Diddy. She can't even get the limo part right. Her father says, she said that her and her father had a quiet ride home from that event after he picked her up from this long drive. The father said, I think I would remember that if that happened. Something like that happened, I would have remembered. Her own father ain't backing her on the story. So what the hell are they doing over there? It's a shakedown. Nobody's saying Jay-Z's a great human being and he hasn't done things in the past. But on this subject, in this situation, this case, he's innocent. He has nothing to do with whatever the hell this is. And now people have got to take their medicine. Diddy didn't use limos. He really didn't. They used SUVs. They weren't using limos. Diddy was pulling up in SUVs. He wasn't using limos. I hardly ever seen Diddy get out of a limo. I don't even think it's probably, if you seen Diddy get out of a limo, I'm telling you, I've not really ever seen him get out of a limo. So if he told you that, Gene would know more than anything because he was the bodyguard. Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to look at the genius of it and the way it's all been broken down for the world to see, it's clear that this is something he's innocent of. So you got to think about the other cases he had, right? And practices. People have talked about the things that he's done allegedly. He has got rewarded money in settlements. And once they got the settlement money, he's basically rationing off the settlement money to people and holding it hostage unless they do what he says do. That's one of the people that was suing him was saying he did. He's like, he didn't give me all my settlement money. He's basically rationing it off to me. He's like, why I don't have my money? Who said that you're supposed to have it? It's like, oh, I signed some paperwork saying that you can have the money and only he gets so much of it and you for a certain period of time. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't say you supposed to be my babysitter. So the guy is suing him. And a lot of these people are now, he's going to be caught up in so much litigation. He will not be able to get out of it. I'm telling you, his practice is going to suffer greatly behind this. He's going to have to close them doors. It's crazy. Oh, yes, sir. Here's Jay-Z's lawyer breaking it.
Evaluate whether something occurred. You have to look at different pieces of the narrative, the location where it happened, the witnesses, who were they, what did they say, the details. Details are very important in time. So we start off with the location. And according to their complaint, after approximately 20 minutes, she arrived at a White House with a U-shaped driveway and a gate. There is no such location in New York, 20 minutes from Radio City. It does not exist. There is no such location. We don't know whether they created a location in order to try to get jurisdiction in New York so they could bring this case in New York, or whether they just didn't do their homework. But any New Yorker knows there is no such location. Beyond that, this was supposed to have taken place at Mr. Combs' after party, according to them. When you look at the homes associated with Mr. Combs during that period of time, and even not during that period of time, none of them matches. He had a townhouse, he had a house in the Hamptons hours away, and he had homes in New Jersey, but not at that time. None of the homes work, the location doesn't work because this never happened. And again, when you really bear down on the location and his whereabouts, you quickly realize, because if there's photographic evidence and witnesses are coming forward, that Mr. Carter was at a commercial establishment after the VMAs. He wasn't at a house. Well, unfortunately for them, they needed to create this house in order to create the narrative. But he wasn't at a White House that did not exist. And this is a photograph of him at a location after the VMAs. So as we can continue through this, that Jane Doe does not say that the assault happened at a commercial establishment. She can't. That wouldn't make any sense. Yet they stand by it. They double down. They triple down. White House, White House. The White House doesn't exist. And then we get to the witnesses. And I think at the outset, everybody has to remember that in 24 years, not a single witness has ever come forward saying this happened. Quarter of a century. Think about that. She says she's at the party alone, this 13-year-old girl, and she finds herself in the room with the three most famous people at the party. Just think about how unnatural, how little common sense that makes. And according to her, one of the witnesses is a female celebrity who's just standing there watching the repetitive rape of a child. That celebrity does nothing, says nothing, reports nothing. And in fact, they won't even identify her. According to them, there's an adult female in the room watching the rape of a child. They refuse to identify her. So then we continue, and you look and there's celebrities that she says she's mingling with before. Afterwards, she says she runs out of the house naked. Runs out of the house naked. None of them notice that. None of them pay any notice. For 24 years, none of them has said anything. And so she's just asked in this interview, she's asked, well, I mean, celebrities are recognizable people. Surely you can tell us one celebrity that was there. Just give us one name so that we know this happened. And she says, okay, Benji Madden was there. And she wants to conjure up religion and say, I'm religious. I remember his tattoo. She looks and remembers so vividly the tattoo and the conversation with Mr. Madden. Well, Mr. Madden wasn't there. He already said he wasn't there. His tour schedule said he wasn't there. And he wasn't there because this never happened. None of this ever happened. And you keep going and you ask yourself, well, who is this complaining witness? She does not come forward with her real name. She proceeds under Jane Doe. There's no report to the police. According to her, she never tells anybody for 24 years. Not one person, not alone in the car for 5 hours at home, on her way home. Not one person, not a diary, not a family member, not a friend. Most people, when this happens, there's a need to tell somebody. We call these prompt outcry witnesses. In most complaints like this, people tell somebody. She says nobody for 24, 25 years. And then we get to the details. And I want to make sure this is clear. When people make up an account, whether intentionally or their mind is playing tricks on them, they can always get that core part of the story right. They can just keep repeating it over and over and over again. This is what happened, that core part. But they're always going to mess up the details. When something isn't real, when something doesn't happen, you're going to get the details wrong because you weren't really there. And so she starts with her story about her friend that dropped her off. Okay? This drive of over 5 hours, the friend would have had to have gone 10 plus hours to drop her off because she's got to get there. If this is real, she's got to get there. But guess what? This friend of hers, she doesn't get out of the car, right? Think about that. She's just leaving a 13-year-old girl alone in Midtown. She doesn't even want to get out of the car. She came all that way. There can't be a witness there. She can't have a witness there because this never happened. So as you keep going, you ask yourself, but how did she end up in the car in the first place? And so she creates this story. She says, I snuck out the window, right? But now we know she came from Rochester. So she would have been sneaking out of the window at 3 p.m. in the middle of broad daylight. Never heard of such a thing, defies common sense, doesn't make any sense because this never happened. And so she tells this story because she's got to create a way that she gets out of the house and ends up in New York City. And as we keep going here, the friend that implausibly leaves her there, there's then some pressure on that part of the story because it doesn't make any sense. And so the lawyer is asked, well, just produce the friend. And so he has to find somebody that can make this work. And of course, as soon as he's pressed, they find somebody who they say is no longer alive. They can't corroborate it, and there's nobody to talk to. Okay, and if we can keep going. Next slide. So she then gets there, right? And she has this vivid tale of watching it on a Jumbotron. It's in her complaint. Clear as day. There was no Jumbotron that year. Okay? I don't know whether they were Googling images and found the wrong year. I don't know whether she's just making it up out of whole cloth. There is no Jumbotron. In fact, they didn't even get a permit, according to the police and the city, for the Jumbotron that year. So that didn't happen. None of the details are right because this never happened. If we can keep going. And then she says, I'm knocking on the doors and the windows of limousines and VIPs. Of course, that doesn't work either. If you look at the video, photographs, that whole area was blocked off. We've spoken to numerous people there that were in security. No one could have gotten anywhere near those cars because this never happened. She gets that fact wrong. And the whole story about, of all people, she knocks on Puff's window. 13-year-old girl in Midtown by herself. Just think about that. Think about how illogical that is. Keep going. Again, this is Eminem performing in the streets. No Jumbotron. All the cars barricaded. Her facts don't check out because this never happened. We keep going. So what ends up happening then, and this is important, is her original account in the original complaint says that at 9:30 or 10, she's told to wait there to get a ride to the after party. Okay? That also doesn't work because there's photographs now of Mr. Combs, Mr. Carter at commercial establishments in New York after the VMAs. So this narrative of at 10 o'clock she ends up at this party can't work. They got caught. So they change it in the amended complaint that there's this multiple drop-off and pickup that lands them at this White House that doesn't exist. So as we continue, this is again her account of trying to change the story into this multiple drop-off period to get them at the house to deal with the fact that there's photographic evidence that that's not where the after party was in the first place. And so as this account continues, you have to look at the timeline. You have to look at the timeline. So there's an old expression that time doesn't lie. Everything else that I'm talking about, these glaring inconsistencies, these are not minor inconsistencies. These are not minor problems with this story. This is utter falsehoods. Time never lies. And so if you look at the time, no matter what, this couldn't have happened. It's not even possible that this happened. And this is so important. So again, now that we know that it's a 5-hour drive in each direction, how she gets to the VMAs, okay, we're going to talk in some detail about this White House and whether or not they could have gotten there. And then again, Doe returns home to Rochester, okay? And this is very important. Because she returns home, she has to leave the New York area by 1:30 in the morning at the latest, okay? If you look at any of these White Houses and you look at the closest gas stations that could be to any of these White Houses, you have to leave this White House party by 12:45 in order to get to the gas station at 1:30 to call your father to pick you up to get home to Rochester at 6:30. So remember, she only has till 12:45 for everything that she says to have happened. The VMAs end at after 11. So you're talking about a window of a little more than an hour that this could possibly have happened even by their own account. And she says during that little bit more than an hour, not only does she get to the house, not only is she inside mingling with celebrities, she has a drink. She's then sexually assaulted in front of an adult female multiple times. She gets out of that. She fights through it. She leaves the house naked. She gets all the way to the gas station. She had 37 minutes to possibly do this. Okay, even under their account. Okay, and of course, the biggest problem perhaps of all is there's photographs putting Mr. Combs and Mr. Carter at different places, not in a White House during that 37 minutes. So when I tell you that it's not just that this story is a lie and that it's not true, it's provably, demonstrably false. This never happened. So we talked about this 37 minutes. The earliest, even if we didn't have that establishments. Remember, this is innocence on top of innocence. Even if we didn't have that, according to her, the earliest they could have gotten to the house is 12:11. And the reason for that is if the VMAs end and the drive is 20 minutes, the driver has to go there, drop them off, come back, pick her up, bring her back. She can't get there And again, this is lickety split. This is as fast as is possible, okay? This is no traffic leaving Radio City in Midtown during an awards ceremony. 12:11. She has to leave that white residence by 12:48 in order for her father to pick her up at the gas station. 37 minutes. That's the entire window of opportunity here. So here again is the timeline. Shows the 11:11 VMA's end, the drop off, the pickup, and the drop off. Next slide. And again, here we are. You see the 37 minutes. This is the 42 minutes it takes to walk. This is the closest gas station. And this is, remember this is a 13-year-old girl walking who has issues, who is maybe drugged according to her, who's just been viciously raped multiple times, who was holding her own clothing trying to get to a gas station that she had never been before. Okay? No map, no cell phone, no nothing. Straight line, it's 42 minutes. Okay? The story doesn't work, it doesn't check out. Okay? This never happened. Next slide. These are all the things that they claim happened in that 37 minutes. Okay? And again, 37 is giving them every benefit of the doubt as how long this window could be. Every benefit of the doubt. But here's an even bigger problem. There are photographs of Mr. Carter and Mr. Combs at commercial establishments during the 37 minutes. They're not there. Even if you try to come up with the fastest possible timeline, I'm talking about no traffic, nobody getting in your way at the door, right to the bar kind of timeline, it still doesn't work because they had to leave Radio City. They had to go to the commercial establishments. Mr. Combs is photographed at 2 different commercial establishments with Jennifer Lopez, 2 establishments. They had to go to both of those establishments and get back to the White House. Get back to the White House before she has to leave at 12:30. None of this can work. And in fact, and I think this is very important, you will notice in the photographs that Miss Lopez changes clothing between the 2 events that they go to in New York City. You can see in one photograph, she's wearing one outfit and another. So she had to be able to, in this 40-minute window, get to multiple events. They're seen drinking, socializing. She has to change outfits, change her hair, all within 40 minutes to get to that White House in time. And you're saying to yourself, so that's not possible. You're right, it's not possible. It's because this never happened. And then we get to the end. She kept running until she reached a gas station. A female clerk noticed her, allowed her to use the phone. Plaintiff called her father, admitted that she had lied about her whereabouts. And this is a very small thing, very small. But remember, when you leave house and you're 13, you have to have a story. You either have to sneak out and not have a lie, or you tell your parents a lie. Sort of 2 options, right? Earlier, she says, well, I didn't tell my parents a lie. I just snuck out the window, right? Here, she says, well, I lied. See, do you know what that means? That means she's lying even within her own story. They can't both be true. And I said earlier that no witnesses have come forward in basically a quarter of a century, except for one. Now there's one, her own father, the person who knows her best. And he came forward too. And he said, you know what? This never happened. This never happened. And his attention was drawn to it. I feel like I would remember that. And they said, but you've got a lot going on. Maybe you forgot this. You've got a lot going on. They told him, listen, you've got a lot going on. Try to see if they pressed him, if he stuck to his story. He said, yeah, I have a lot going on, but that's something that would definitely stick in my mind. Of course it would stick in your mind. You drove 10 hours to pick up your 13-year-old daughter in New York City. It's not something you would forget. It's not something that he did forget because this never happened. And of course, just like the friend that couldn't be there at the beginning, you can't have a witness to something that never happened. When asked, well, what did you say to your father in the car? What did you talk about? Nothing. She says not a word was spoken. There can't be a conversation because this never happened. And so you got to ask yourself what's going on here, right? And you all saw that videotape of her being interviewed in the shadowy room. She's holding a teddy bear. She's talking about her issues, her head trauma. She's been through a lot in her life, you can tell. And so who took advantage of this? Why are we here? Why is this story getting created? And I'll tell you who took advantage of this. This lawyer took advantage of this. That's what's going on here. And you can see here, now that this is starting to unravel and the truth is coming out, he's starting to walk away from it. He's saying, oh, sorry, this case was referred to our firm by another firm, so I didn't really check it out, is basically what he's saying, right? He brings an accusation like this, attacks a man with the integrity of Mr. Carter, and all he has to say for himself now is, well, I didn't really check on this. I got a referral, trying to make a little bit of money, so we just went live with it. Next. Here is again the timeline that he went live with. In the face of this irrefutable, time doesn't lie evidence, he went live with it. And again, it doesn't work. This 37 minutes, it does not work. It does not work because there's photographs. There's photographs. You can find them on the internet of them. They're changing clothes. She's changed clothes. Do you know how long that takes for her to go to 2 events, change clothes, get inside, have drinks, they're socializing. They're not popping into these events. To then get back out into the suburbs somewhere at a house that doesn't exist, it's not possible. Actually not possible. He is for sure innocent of this accusation. Next slide. But you know, this lawyer, he doesn't care about things like this. The only other person he's brought a complaint against for just mere association, merely being at a Sean Combs party, he's already been wrong about that one too. He had to change that one. If you look at the next slide, he got the year wrong. He said there was a party in the Hamptons. Mr. Combs was in Saint-Tropez at the time. Didn't check out. 2 claims, neither are checking out. We could keep going. And we have this, individuals calling my office, telling me story after story. And, I'm not going to get sidetracked. People think I'm going to start saying, explaining he's a grifter and all these things about him. I'm not here to talk about him more than I need to. But there's people calling the office saying, yeah, they were being pressured to say stuff, to say that they were with Mr. Combs. These are affidavits. They're filed in court. This is what you're dealing with here. Next slide. And so this is who took advantage of the woman in the shadowy video. He gives a press conference, 1-800 number, and he claims 2 days after posting that press conference, 2 days, that he has 120 fully vetted plaintiffs, 120. Anybody that does this for real, anyone that knows what they're doing, knows to corroborate, to interrogate, and to be sure about even one person takes weeks. One person. You've got to find out if their story makes sense. Did they really get dropped off? Does any of it check out? Is there corroboration? Are there any witnesses? It takes weeks for one. He had 120 in 2 days. When he files these cases, he doesn't even enter his notice of appearance. He just has some other lawyer file them. He holds these press conferences. He says, listen, anybody out there, just call the 1-800 number. If you can put yourself anywhere near a Sean Combs party at any point, we can go after the other celebrities there. We can make money together. Just call the 1-800 number. That's all you need to do. And then we'll send a letter to the celebrity. They're not going to want to have this in the public light. And they're going to be shaken down and they'll send us money. So just call the number. And Mr. Carter said no. He said, that's not going to happen anymore. I'm going to put my foot down. And that's what he did. And I would urge any other celebrity that's being shaken down right now to do the same thing and to stand with truth. None of this ever happened. And what this 1-800 lawyer is doing, he's taking the justice away from this. He's destroying this opportunity and the voices of real victims. And it's got to end. So, are there any questions? Yes.
One question.
Sure.
So for the people that are calling your office, I'm assuming if it's not dismissed, like worst case scenario, and you guys move forward to try and show that everything you just told us, what evidence are you guys submitting other than the accounts they're giving you over the phone? Like, or do any of those people calling you have like emails between them and Buzbee or text conversations where they're encouraging this stuff?
Yeah, so let me divide that question into two if I can. We expect the case to be dismissed. If it's not, eventually this will all crumble because it can't possibly have happened mathematically. You don't even need witnesses. They don't have any witnesses because this never happened, and you don't need witnesses because the time doesn't work. There's literally photographic evidence that proves that this could not have happened. In terms of what's going to happen to Mr. Buzbee for this racket and everything else going on, time will tell. But this is how things unravel. Yes, sir.
Yeah, who is Lex Intelligence, and has your firm ever hired them in connection with Tony Buzbee to investigate Tony Buzbee as he's alleged?
I don't know that firm, don't know those people, and the answer is no.
So this might just be an extension of the first question, but you said that there were people calling saying they were being pressured to say that they were with Mr. Combs. Can you elaborate on that, please? Are they calling you to say that they're being pressured?
Yeah, there was a witness that came forward that contacted my office and submitted an affidavit in court regarding this that accounted for what occurred on that day, which was they called the Buzbee firm. They said they had an inquiry. The inquiry had nothing to do with Mr. Combs, Mr. Carter, or any of this. And the people at the Buzbee firm said, well, why don't we try to push this in the direction of the Combs case? That's a better decision in sum and substance. That's a better way to go here. This individual refused to do that, contacted my office and signed it, and then an affidavit was submitted to court. Yes?
You mentioned the letters that Buzbee's been sending out to unnamed celebrities in relation to these Combs lawsuits. What were your interactions on behalf of Mr. Carter before he was renamed in the amended complaint?
Well, after the letter was received, we obviously knew this was completely false and we weren't going to be shaken down. So the efforts were nothing because there was nothing to discuss in any meaningful way.
Do you know who the Jane Doe is, like her actual identity? Has there been like research into that on your end?
Yeah, because it's a fair question because she's been blacked out in the video and because a court has not unmasked her in court. I'm not going to get into her identity. You will notice that I did not get into some of her issues. I don't want to. It's really sad in many respects, and I don't want to get into that. So I'm not going to unmask her here today.
Has the accuser tried to reach out to Mr. Carter before, or any of his camp or anyone?
Not to my knowledge. Yes.
Buzbee indicated that there was a second alleged victim. Has he given any notice that he's pursuing that claim as well?
No, and I would hope not after what's going on here. Yes.
You mentioned in your recent filing on this docket that you were intending to file a motion to dismiss. What's the timeline on that? Are you working on that?
Yeah, so we did file a motion to dismiss the day after this was filed.
Right.
The Rule 11 letter, which basically says that a lawyer is not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to not vet a claim and file a false claim in court. It needs to come down. The way that works, and it's a little technical, is that the court has to allow you to file faster than you should otherwise be allowed to file. So we are hopeful that the court will respond today and we will file that. If not, there are other things that we're going to do to bring the truth to light. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Are there any witnesses who will be corroborating Mr. Carter's testimony that he was not there that night? Or is that sort of what you're hinting at, that if necessary, you will provide those people?
Yeah, I mean, it's like asking to corroborate something that never happened. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of people that are going to say there was no party at the White House, that put all of these celebrities where they're already put in photographs in different places, not at a White House. Remember, according to her, all three of these people, I mean, you all have seen the photographs. I mean, on the internet, I just showed you some. All three of these people would have had to have been at this White House together, alone in a room. Just think about that. Alone in a room with this 13-year-old girl at exactly the time that they're at commercial establishments. So there's no proof better than time. But of course, there are going to be people that are going to say that they were all out that night and nowhere near a White House, and they went to an after party at a commercial establishment. And this is all fantasy.
If this case is dismissed after that, or you guys decided indefinitely to file anything in addition, like an information lawsuit?
This issue with a lawyer taking advantage of the situation is going to be dealt with. I can assure you. And I think sort of stay tuned. I think the first thing today was to make sure that everybody understands this is not an account of inconsistencies. I wanted everybody to understand that this never happened. This is completely false. And then we'll move forward from there. Yes.
What is Mr. Carter's account of that night? Does he say he was at multiple locations, just that nightclub, Lotus nightclub that he was photographed at?
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into sort of privileged communications and talk too much about that, but I will say that he was not at any house or any location. They were in New York City. They were at commercial establishments with lots of people around. And this is obviously completely false.
How's Mr. Carter feeling?
He's upset. He's upset that somebody would be allowed to do this. They would make a mockery of the system like this. He's upset that this distracts and dissuades real victims from coming forward. He's upset that his kids and his family have to deal with this. He's upset. They should be upset.
Is your firm investigating Buzbee, talking to people around him as he's alleged in some of his legal suit, in his suit against Tony Manuel?
Yeah, that suit went nowhere, as you saw. And what happens when people bring frivolous cases and run rackets like this is, of course, we're asking questions. I've got people contacting my office telling me chapter and verse about him. So we don't shut off the phone lines. I'm listening because I'm trying to figure out how this is allowed to proceed like this. Yes.
He posted a photo on his Instagram of 3 men at a door of his client, suggesting that investigators came and said that they would pay $1,000 for plaintiffs to file a suit against him. I mean, do you have any connection to those men that he photographed? Do those men have any connection to Quinn Emanuel?
Zero. Okay. I don't know whether it's completely false or not, but zero connection to those people. Have no idea what that is. Don't know whether he made it up out of whole cloth. Don't know if he's trying to distract from what he's under now. But no, there's no truth to that. Anything else?
Right. Will Mr. Carter say anything more specifically about Mr. Combs? He didn't really address him in his statement, but anything since outlets and internet speculation have tried to affiliate the two of them, he didn't really in his statement specifically say anything about any of the allegations.
I mean, Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years, just like in all professions. People know each other. At the music awards, they support each other. If you go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's just how professions work. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. That's all that there is. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case. And there's nothing more to say. Yes.
In the original filing before it was amended, and even after, there was a second, the woman celebrity that even chose in the room. That woman celebrity, whoever that is, has there been any other people that may have been with Mr. Carter or even Puff that night that I reached out to you guys, just wanted to know what is happening, just so that they can prepare for kind of even a fight back like Jay-Z is right now?
Well, we know other celebrities have received letters, and we've spoken to other celebrities that were there that night that say this is what they know about this. This makes no sense, couldn't have happened because they were all at a commercial establishment. So I hope that answers your question. Yes.
Was there a specific amount of money or something specific that was demanded of Mr. Carter in this demand letter that was sent to you before the complaint was filed?
There isn't a specific number that has been demanded.
Did they specifically ask for money?
In the demand letter, what did?
Yeah. So I've been asked this question before. People like this, they don't send demand letters out to not get money. That's all they want. Okay. This is not for truth and justice. This is for money. So the request was to sit down and talk about a way to resolve this matter. And we all know what that means. Yes.
Do you have any plans to release the demand letter?
Not as I stand here today. I'm more concerned with making sure that everybody knows this didn't happen. I know there's a lot of questions about this lawyer and who's after him and how much wrong has he done and these questions, and I totally understand that and respect those questions, but we'll turn to that later. Anything else? Okay. Thank you all very much for your time.
Well, now a lot of this nonsense has been playing out to go one way. This is a mess. Pretty much is a mess, but you got to look at it from what they're looking at initially. It doesn't exist. So if this case don't exist, the other 120 are nonsense. So who is pushing for this to happen? Somebody's behind the scenes pulling the strings for all of these fake cases to come forward. Because if this didn't exist, that means the Diddy lawsuit is false too. But nobody even cared about it until Jay-Z got sued. And Jay-Z went right after the lawyer. So right away, everybody can see exactly what we're talking about now. Of course. Who would say anything about the latter? Right? You wouldn't care. They wouldn't care. The people around them wouldn't care. Yeah, I'm watching this old bum play right now. One of those non-televised games. Yep, turnover Lakers. Oh, they got the ball back. But no, this whole case is definitely going downstream. It's going downhill. They can see it. Everybody can see it for what it is. Yeah, DeFrozen coming up, DeFrozen, once again, choking up in big games. JJ Redick looking like he got punched in the eye. They don't care, man. This whole game is so foul. The way they play it is so foul that it doesn't even make sense. It truly don't. But they do it so well, though, because they lie. Yeah, they lie so much when it's not even necessary to do. It's like, really? Really, though? Right. It's like a that's how you feel moment. So if this Tony Buzbee guy who came out of nowhere with all these 120 lawsuits against Diddy, right at the moment in time this New York cases are going on, and all of a sudden this guy from Texas come up with 120 Diddy lawsuits. Come on now, y'all know what this is. The sad part about it is that this has affected your ability to think. That's what they've done. Your ability to think is being compromised. They want to program you to believe what the message that they're sending you. And that's what's happening nowadays. There's no more compromise. It's all BS, propaganda. We want to push our narratives to you. So follow and believe everything that we tell you. And just believe it at face value. Whatever the media say they did it. Period. Don't believe nobody else but us. We the ones that's only gonna tell you the truth. They want you to believe that a damn 747 can fit into a goddamn tower, and that the fire from the tower can burn the metal and make the whole building go down. Anybody who's ever done construction in their life is sitting there going, airplane fuel is hot enough to burn and melt steel and make the steel crumble enough to where it goes in. And a 747 with wings span going way out went into a building. A 747? And you believed it. You believed it. None of it made sense. A 747 went into the Pentagon and it had a little bitty burn spot. No evidence of a plane wreckage anywhere. Then they said, we got video footage that shows it when it hits. It is like a little bomb or missile hit the thing. No plane. So, if they can sell you that, they can sell you any damn thing. Because our common sense is not even being used anymore. Common sense told you that was a lie. But yet you had American people harassing innocent Indian Americans, running down, trying to run them over, all kind of craziness, not thinking about, hey, did this even happen? Nobody knew who Saddam Hussein was. Saddam Hussein was never even thought about. Nobody knew his name. Nobody knew nothing of him. Nobody. When that plane hit that building, smack. As soon as that plane hit the building, what happened? The next day in the newspaper, it was a bullseye with a 2-page fold-out section of, guess who? Guess who? Osama bin Laden. They gave you a target and said he did it. And everybody jumped on board. Of course, there would be no capturing and taking him alive and putting him on trial. Everybody cheered that he died. But then they the ones that screams about justice. Oh, now look at this ridiculous call. Monk comes down the lane, goes there, gets a layup. Reeves comes down, the ball gets blocked from behind. Then he comes back again, tries to split the defense, and they call a foul. And Mike Brown's going to have a heart attack. This is a non-televised game, Smokey. They finna pull all the tricks tonight. Get ready for that. People are foolish. The world is foolish. No, because the whole moral of the story is this: you have to know what it is that you're getting involved in. No. We taking this all the way to the last letter. Oh yeah. They can't do nothing with it. Well, Buzbee made a mistake. Coming after Jay-Z and putting Jay-Z's name in there and forcing Jay to do what he's doing now. Tony Buzbee's gonna be made an example out of. And they're gonna know. You're gonna leave Jay-Z alone. You ain't big enough to take out Jay. You better have a hell of a lot of evidence, buddy. Well, they're challenging this. They're gonna review the play. I mean, the whole thing these coaches reviews is crazy. They'll review the play, get a foul to somebody else if they got the call wrong. It's gonna be right a whole nother way. Well, he didn't foul him there, but he fouled him earlier in the play down the stretch. It was another foul. So we gonna. Oh, thanks, Colonel. Oh, yeah, well. Yep, 1 point game. They got the dinosaur on the bench. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I'm not defending Jay-Z. I'm calling it for what it is. It's what it is. Okay? Right is right and wrong is wrong. You just gotta call it for what it is. You're being programmed by people because you feel a certain way about Diddy, you don't like Diddy and all this crap that they've been saying about Diddy and this, y'all are following suit and doing the same stupidity that these other people are trying to force you to believe and follow. Now, all of this stuff about Diddy, do you not know that none of this stuff would have came out this way if they were going to continuously go down this road? You know what I'm saying? Like if you was gonna catch Diddy and doing something, you ain't finna have 17,000 cases, all this stuff. No, it's not going to be like that. Your common sense got to tell you somebody's lying. I never felt that the right situations came to be. Exactly. Nobody's defending Jay-Z. We're just calling things out for what it is. Oh, wait a minute. Did Jay-Z just take some drugs? LeBron James just took some steroids. What the hell? Hold on. What the hell is that? This nigga popping roids in the middle of the goddamn game. Oh, hell no. Hell no. What the hell is this? What did LeBron James just put in his mouth? Oh, hell no. The trainer gave him something. Oh, hell no. It's going down. I got to end the live, y'all. I got to go.